And so he shared with us during one meeting that when he came out to his father in his teens, as a gay man, the father pushed him down the staircase and tried to beat him to death. And he says the biggest regret in his life is when he was lying in a puddle of his own blood and decided to draw another breath because he felt that his father would rather have a dead son than a gay son, and that he should have just passed on that day.
Hello and welcome back to Quiet Ripples, a podcast where we talk to everyday Singaporeans doing extraordinary things for fellow Singaporeans. Today we have very special guests, Alaric and Lynn from the Greenhouse. So say hi.
Hi.
Hello. Maybe let's introduce ourselves first.
Sure, yeah. So my name's Alaric. I'm founder and executive director of the Greenhouse. The Greenhouse is basically a recovery center for marginalized and vulnerable communities. Though all are welcome, we especially help women, those who are LGBT, racial minority, living with HIV or formerly incarcerated, heal from trauma to outgrow addiction.
I'm Lynn. I've been a volunteer counsellor with the Greenhouse for the past 2.5 years. My role is to provide individual therapy to help clients uncover the underlying issues that have contributed to their substance use struggles.
And maybe let's dive straight in. Let's talk about some terminology that we might be using today and maybe just clear the air before we jump in. The first, I think you mentioned substance users. And maybe we can talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so I guess the main thing is a lot of people who use drugs are considered drug addicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the Greenhouse, we follow evidence-based practice. We don't call them drug addicts because this is substance use disorder. That's the correct
use disorder
term, yes, yeah. So we call them substance users, and we don't use the term clean time either because it's actually abstinence time. Abstinence time is when the client is in remission and not actively using.
We use the term addiction, but we don't refer to the users as addicts. Right?
That's right, yeah. Because it's stigmatizing. For a lot of our clients, they're already struggling with so many marginalized and minority identities, whether they are racial minority or whether they are LGBTQ, etc. Yeah. So the label of a drug addict is really not helpful in helping them change the way that they cope with mental health challenges. Yeah, so I guess what we discovered, and it was part of my lived experience too, when you come from a minority community, such as those who are LGBT or living HIV, or even women, communities that are vulnerable because they experience a lot of discrimination, stigma, bullying, there can be more mental health challenges which leads to substance use as a maladaptive coping mechanism. So even though all are welcome at our center, these are the communities we focus on.
Can you talk about how you started the Greenhouse?
Sure, yeah. I guess it was really because as a gay man growing up in Singapore, I did feel very unsafe. I felt like there was something wrong with me and that I wasn't worthy of love and acceptance. And so that was something that I carried with me because my parents sent me for conversion therapy when I came out to them. They told me that it's not okay to be gay and that it's something that can be prayed away or should be prayed away. Yeah, so I was constantly carrying a lot of shame and guilt and fear whenever I had to meet people or do anything. Because of the experience, and I didn't realize at the time, drug use became a way for me to manage all these feelings. They helped me feel safe, that the world was okay and that I didn't have to be careful when I met people because they were not going to harm me. Yeah, and it was really because of my inability to find services in Singapore that could understand my needs and meet those needs that I ended up setting up a support group for LGBT people in Singapore who are looking to stop using their drug use, stop using drugs, and organically over many years it became the Greenhouse.
Why the name Greenhouse?
So we are located in a green and white shop house, so it is literally a greenhouse. But I thought the analogy, the metaphor is very striking. I love this quote by Thich Nhat Hanh that says that when you grow cabbage, if it doesn't grow well, you never blame the cabbage. You try to figure out whether it needs more air, more sunlight, more water, but you never blame the cabbage. And so the whole ethos of the Greenhouse is that somebody who's struggling, who's really suffering and using drugs in order to cope, we want them to come to our center. It's our job to walk with them and help them figure out exactly what they need. we believe that once that has been done, they will not just survive, they will thrive. Yeah. And so the greenhouse really is a name that fits perfectly.
How about yourself, Lynn? How did you find Greenhouse?
I was introduced to the greenhouse by an ex-classmate of mine. She told me that there's an opening for counseling opportunities, and she asked me if I'm interested. And so I just went ahead and applied for the volunteer position. I would say I've always had a passion for addiction work because I feel that addiction is one of the most misunderstood conditions out there. Many people see it as a moral or behavioral issue, but I don't. I see it more of a coping mechanism that is not socially or legally accepted. But the real issue is the pain underneath that we need to address.
So maybe let me understand a little bit more about the greenhouse. So do you have, say, full-time, or is it everybody's a volunteer in the greenhouse?
Yeah, I guess what's unusual about the greenhouse is most of our interventions are delivered by our volunteer peer spotters and counsellors. Yeah, at the moment, we have about 30 of them, 15 are peer spotters, 15 are counsellors. And so we are very lean. There are only 4 staff members handling all our volunteers. And because of the way that we set this up, it means that all services at our centre are not just confidential and safe, but they are also completely free of charge.
Okay. So where do you get your support from in that case? Because there's so much support available for the marginalised community, where do you get your support from?
Yeah, I guess we have a very strong spirit of service at our centre, and we have a very strong spirit of community. So a lot of our clients, when they come to our centre, they're very surprised that during the assessment, first point of contact is an ex-client, meaning somebody who has themselves actually gone through trauma, addiction and recovery. And so they model, they hold out hope that what your journey here is going to be possible. It's not only going to be something that you can achieve, but you'll be given the chance to pay it forward one day. The model is very efficient and very sustainable because everybody from the very first day understands that there's an opportunity to serve others after they recover. We provide a lot of training to clients that we handpick for certain traits to be trained into peer spotters, and training is very intensive. Yeah, so just for the peer spotters, there's 6 modules. There's the introduction to peer spot, and then there's basics of counselling. Then there's our signature SSTC framework, which is sexuality, substance use, trauma, and co-occurring disorders. And so that's the same for counsellors. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that yes, we're very careful who we select, and we provide a lot of training, and we're very careful to provide supervision as well to ensure that everything that's provided at our centre is completely safe and effective. Yeah.
So at the greenhouse, we adopt the biopsycho, social and spiritual model, right, to guide clients in their recovery journey. So from the counselling perspective, we provide a 16-session individual therapy to help clients uncover their underlying issues that contributed to their substance use behavior. So this begins with creating a safe and stable space for them to open up about their struggles, followed by helping them understand and process their past trauma, rebuild their self-worth and self-identity, and find new meaning in their past experiences. Then we talk about relapse prevention, where we'll equip them with healthy coping mechanisms so that they can navigate future challenges without returning to old patterns. And finally, the reconnection part, about reintegration part, reconnecting them to their families or even past estranged relationships or the wider community, so that they can reclaim their place in society with dignity and
reintegrate
autonomy.
them into, back to their own community.
Yeah.
So it could be
Yes.
they were from a community and
Yes.
then they've been estranged for so long.
Yes.
Reintegrating them into
Or
back into the
or even finding meaningful employment or their sense of purpose in life. So we take this approach because we believe that lasting recovery, right, is not about stopping a behavior, It's about uncovering the underlying pain, right? Processing the past trauma, then rebuilding them as a whole person and reconnecting them to healthy and supportive relationships. To
On
answer
that-
your question, why we
yeah.
adopt this practice.
Yeah, yeah. And on that note, because you were talking about like re-employment, and I think it's for those who were previously incarcerated. So, were there any stigmas when you first started the greenhouse, or when you first joined the greenhouse? Any kind of stigmas, and has it changed over the years?
Yeah, I guess the way the greenhouse has evolved is quite closely related to the way I've grown as well. I did see myself as a homosexual drug addict, somebody that should be ashamed of himself and has a moral failing. And the more we provided care to people who came to our center, the more we realized that there's something underneath. We've run our own research studies, and we have shown that actually most of the time it's rejection by their birth families. There's bullying in school. There's actually a lot of physical, mental, emotional, verbal abuse that they went through, and these are the reasons why they're using. So as I started to see myself less as a drug addict and more as a trauma survivor, my healing began to run deep, and that's the kind of thing that we offer to our clients. Our growth is the growth that the center is experiencing. We are continually trying to find out what's happening. We're trying to improve what we do. We're trying to understand so that we can really provide care that is going to be lasting.
Many clients who came to the greenhouse, right, they do face common stigmas like being labeled as weak, morally flawed, failures in life, or undeserving of help. So that usually leads to a lot of discrimination when seeking employment or even having estranged relationships with family. Those are the common stigmas.
That's a very common human nature thing, right? Because I think we're always brought up to be independent, to be strong-willed, to grow up as your own person, and the fact that you want help or you need help always seems to be a label that's weak. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, because I myself personally, sometimes I find it very difficult to ask people for help, even for the simplest things. Like carrying something heavy, I need help, but I'm very stubborn, like I want to just do it myself. But yeah, I think that's one very, very important stigma that it's very hard to shake also. It's a mentality that's very hard to shake. Yeah.
That's true. But I would say for substance users, there's this added layer of undeserving of help. It's almost like they're not treated with the same equality as other mental health disorders. Example, say depression, someone living with depression or anxiety. Like you wouldn't say that they are undeserving of help. But for substance users, they do face this kind of discrimination.
Yeah, I guess something on top of that, I guess what you're saying is that drug use is often seen as a blameworthy issue, but also a lot of our clients are at least triple stigmatized, meaning they're not just LGBT and living HIV or using drugs, they are all three. Yeah, so it's very hard for them to work up the courage to step through our doors and seek help because they feel like there's something wrong with them, don't deserve it. Which is why we are very careful to keep the barriers to care at our center very low. Everything is free of charge and is de-identified, so they feel safe to ask for help.
Yeah, it's true. I would say for many of our clients, their struggles come with many intersecting layers, right, that need to be handled very delicately. And it can be difficult for them to find meaningful help in standard care facilities.
Yeah. So an example that we often give is that some of our clients can be seeing 3 or 4 healthcare professionals at the same time, because one is for the anxiety and depression, and the other is for the HIV treatment, and third one could be just general counselling, but they have never told any of their healthcare providers that they are, for example, LGBT. Or that they're using drugs, they don't feel safe to. So at the greenhouse, we try to bring all the different parts of themselves together by creating that safe space.
And you're the only center that does this in Singapore.
Well, we are from what we know, we are the only Drug Addiction Recovery Center, which specializes in intersecting needs, all the different marginalized and vulnerable parts of ourselves that are usually hidden from other healthcare providers, maybe.
Then maybe let's talk about challenges. What are some of your challenges, maybe from the time you started to now with the greenhouse? Or even reaching out to the communities? Because I understand, like we're talking about it just now, it's very hard for people to come forward to ask for help. So how do you reach out to these people?
We do a lot of outreach and education. Like those who have recovered our center, our peer spotters don't just become wounded healers, they become recovery ambassadors. They actually show their face and tell their stories on social media, in mental health campaigns, at workshops. Yeah. So they help other communities understand, or even the communities they belong to, what's really happening. Yeah, so they help to destigmatize the issue, they show that recovery is possible, and they hold up hope for those who want to come to our center by showing that it's safe.
And maybe let's go back to Lynn. Do you remember your first greenhouse client?
I do. It was a very memorable case for me. So this client of mine, he was from a minority race, minority sexual orientation, grew up in an abusive household, diagnosed with a chronic medical condition, was incarcerated before, and is now battling substance use. So I remembered him because he came in with a very broken sense of self, very broken and fragmented sense of self, dealing with a lot of shame and pain from the past and his current use. And he didn't believe that he would recover, or he could enjoy life, or he could have autonomy and empowerment over his life. And through my therapeutic journey with him, we uncovered one day that he himself, when he was younger, was a victim of sexual assault. So, I mean, how do you help someone carrying all of that?
That's a lot. Many things to deal with in one person.
Yes. So we had to help him process his past trauma and help him make sense of his past experiences and find new meaning in them. And finally, after he graduated from our program, he could find employment. And wherever he is now, I hope he's living life to his fullest.
I hope so too. Yeah, it's a lot of things to, and I'm not sure if you need to emotionally distance yourself, because it's different people coming for so many different things all at once. And I'm sure it takes a toll on you guys emotionally. How do you deal with that on your end?
I would say, though it can be mentally or emotionally demanding at times, the nature of our work, but it is also deeply rewarding to witness life transform. I think there's a deep sense of fulfillment in that. I personally don't disassociate myself from the emotions. In fact, I find having the kind of emotional attunement with client really helpful in the therapeutic relationship, in terms of building rapport and gaining trust and connection, so that they feel safe enough to open up to us about their struggles.
I guess one of the most inspiring and yet most awful things that happened was when I personally supported a new client at our center who was actually in his early 30s only. And he was using methamphetamine every day when he came to seek help with us. And he tried very hard to stop using, but he was not able to sustain it for long. As in, after 3 days he lapsed, 4 days he lapsed, and people around him started becoming a little bit judgmental about it. They were wondering whether he really wanted to stop, whether he was using up a lot of time and resources when there was no hope for him. But I always believe that if we are gentle and patient enough, if the space is safe enough, people will open up eventually. And so he shared with us during one meeting that when he came out to his father in his teens, as a gay man, the father pushed him down the staircase and tried to beat him to death. And he says the biggest regret in his life is when he was lying in a puddle of his own blood and decided to draw another breath because he felt that his father would rather have a dead son than a gay son, and that he should have just passed on that day. So when we heard about this, I realized that he needed some maybe some medication. That I suspected he was struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression. So I brought him to my GP, and the GP started him on antidepressants. And from the very first day, he completely lost the urge to use drugs anymore. So it's been many years since that day, and he hasn't relapsed at all. So it really affirmed our ethos as a center that the client wants to heal and is fully capable of healing. They can grow as a person and they can recover no matter how challenging the situation may seem.
And we live in a society where you don't want to disappoint, especially your parents, and for a parent to lash out like that on you, it's beyond traumatic. I would think that's beyond, and to physically push someone down the stairs, and at that point, and someone in their teenage years, and it just cycles on all the way to your adulthood, right? And you go on just blaming yourself for a lot of these things.
Yeah. Something very painful to see at the greenhouse is when someone has been treated so badly that they feel that they deserve it. When they have been rejected so often that they start to reject themselves, they internalize the kind of stigma and discrimination that they're experiencing. And that's actually the kind of things that we're trying to identify and help them to recover from.
And maybe let's talk about, was there a turning point for you when it came to all these clients? Was there something that you thought you needed to change, or something that motivated you even more to pursue something more?
Like Lynn was saying earlier, the work can be very challenging. It can be like physically and sometimes emotionally demanding. But sometimes things happen that hold out hope for us and inspire us to keep going. So one of them was a few years ago, a group of Ustaz and Ustazah, Muslim teachers, came to our center because they wanted to listen to the stories of our clients. They wanted to understand what it's like growing up of being like minority gender and sexual orientation within the Muslim community. And it was my job to hold space for our clients to help them feel safe. And they asked me like, Alaric, what if they hate us? What if they remind us that we are going to hell and that we deserve it? What if we cannot change their minds? And I told them that it's not our job to change their minds. It's just our job to be present, to show up and share our stories as safely. It's just our job to show up and share our stories as openly and honestly and vulnerably as we can. And that was such a turning point for me to see them stand up straight and take up space, not to challenge their religious teachers, but to share about who they are and what they've been through and talk about how things can change.
I would say that my journey with the greenhouse has deepened my passion for trauma-informed work. I mean, we all have our own struggles and our own ways of coping, right? But the difference is certain coping mechanisms are more socially accepted, like exercising, eating, or even overworking, sometimes even celebrated. So as I journey along with my clients, I realize that the real issue is not the choice of coping mechanism, it's the pain underneath. As long as we address that trauma and that pain, we can discover healthier ways to cope and to live a more fulfilling life. I believe that everyone deserves the chance to live with dignity.
What kind of ripple effects do you think the greenhouse is building?
Yeah, I hope people don't see the greenhouse as just a substance use recovery center. I hope they see us as community builders because our recovery family is growing. but more importantly through our community support program, where we actually hold year-end mental health workshops, when we hold mental health campaigns online, when we actually train community leaders and social service practitioners across Singapore in trauma-informed care, and through sharing the stories of trauma, addiction and recovery with those who want to understand and serve our communities. Yeah, so there's a lot of work that we've done which shows that we have a huge impact on society, yeah, and that's the ripple effect that I hope we can identify and amplify and really scale up eventually.
Yeah. Maybe for Lynn, any ripple effect we're building towards or building on?
I think beyond individual recoveries, right, we've seen families heal, clients reconnecting with themselves, and also beneficiaries of our program giving back to the community. So I think it's really encouraging to see this perpetuation of love, support, care and equality that transcends beyond visible barriers or differences. That's the ripple effect of the greenhouse.
All right, and finally, if someone who needs help, how will they reach out to you? Because I know you're unlisted. So how do they reach out to you guys?
We have a website, thegreenhouse.sg, and we are also on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, and our handle is thegreenhouse.sg. So you can actually just use our contact form on the website to get in touch with us if you're interested in seeking help. And everything in our center is not just safe and free of charge, it's actually de-identified, confidential, in a sense anonymous, because we don't take down identifying information when you come to seek help with us. We actually assign you a case number, so there's no way that any of our records can be traced back to anybody at our center.
Thank you so much, Ellery and Lynn, for joining us today in this very nice sunny sunset weather. It's great weather today is what we hope for. Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us today. And if you've liked our episode, please remember to hit like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, both of you, and we'll see you real soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.